Alrighty friends, now that you see me clean off the hoard here, these are 6 mowers that I've had banging out in the pile back there for a good long time, and they have issues. You know, they're missing too many parts to be good, or the motor's blown, or the deck's rotted through, or something else. So today, we're gonna gut them, or we're gonna scrap them. So go ahead and take your bets right now. I actually found 2 other decks hiding under the leaves, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mowers, 3 of them self-propelled, 2 of them straight up pushers. Then you come down in the squawk box. How much do you think I get for this with current scrap prices after I take everything apart, chuck the plastic, and just send the steel and the aluminum? Alrighty, let's get started. Alrighty friends, first up is this absolute no-name mower. Literally there is not a name on it. There was a couple of warning stickers and that was it. Had a Chinese knockoff of a Honda or something on it. But it's illustrating what I want to do here. I'm trying to break these mowers down and create 3 piles. Alright, I want to make a pile of recyclable, a pile of trashable, and a pile of sellable. And ideally I want that middle one, trashable, to be as small as possible. And I want to maximize that third one, sellable. I want to sell as much as I can off these mowers, scrap whatever's metal, and then toss out, you know, the little bits of plastic. So like on this Craftsman front self-propelled, we're not keeping that front cover. We're going to keep that tank because it was a good clean tank that was intact with a cap. We're taking that muffler. People buy those mufflers as replacements or to repair one that's rotted out or whatever. And we will take the carburetor off this one. The only time I don't take the carburetors is if they're not complete or if they're all seized up with corrosion, which happens unfortunately more than I'd like to think about. I also take the wheels off of all of them. The ones that are the geared front propelled ones, they sell really well. And even just the rolling ones sell as replacements. People absolutely they do like to be able to freshen up their lawnmowers when those wheels get a little bit worn out. They come looking for $20 sets. It's worth it, man. You're breaking down, what I say, 8 decks today. You do the math on the tires there. This little bit of plastic, this is the kind of stuff that I'd toss out. I wouldn't bother keeping. I've never had any luck selling the random one model plastic pieces. There just aren't enough people that want to buy them to make it worth it holding on to a million of them. Right here, this one bolt was giving me some trouble. It's good practice when you get a stuck bolt, even when it doesn't matter, and it didn't matter here. Breaking the head off would have gotten that motor off that deck just as quick. It's good practice though. Props to my 3/8 Cobalt. You guys know I got a couple videos talking about the Cobalt cordless tools. I just added that little 3/8 about 2 months ago, and I've been loving it. Before that, I was just using the 1/4 inch impact. The 3/8, I don't know what the heck I was thinking. Love that thing. So right here, we're taking off the air box. You would not believe how often I get a free mower, and the only thing that's wrong with it is it's missing the air box and the air box cover. And what I assume happens is the homeowner gives it a shot. He gets in there and starts experimenting and investigating, seeing if he can't play amateur small engine tech and figure it out himself. And for whatever reason, they just yeet that plastic directly into the bushes. And don't bother putting it back on like it doesn't matter. And that's a big problem for me, because if I get a free mower but I have to buy $40 worth of plastic parts for it, it doesn't make sense anymore. So I probably won't sell that airbox. I'll hold on to it for my own use. This mower here is super interesting to me. It's one of the later models that I've ever gotten, and certainly that I've scrapped. This motor is blown all to pieces. If you notice, there's very little metal on this. That whole back assembly, which is not a drive assembly, it's just a bagger assembly. I think it had like couple different positions between mulcher and bagger. That was all plastic, 100% plastic, and then the front is the drive unit, and that's pretty much 100% plastic. I think the axle is about all that's metal. The gears are plastic, the drive components. So you just have this deck in the middle that's your plastic bit. Less to rot, right? Less to rust. I don't know. Usually I don't like plastic replacing metal. In this particular case, on this mower, I kind of dug it. If you were going to buy a new mower and keep it nice, not having to worry about the back half rotting right off on you, that matters, you know? Do you guys down in Florida have that problem, or is it just up here where we accidentally leave our mower, you know, outside in the winter, it gets snowed on and stuff? You see I'm pulling apart the belt there. I usually keep the belts, again, for my own purposes, not to resell. It's when I get a mower that doesn't have a belt, you know, I need it to be able to make it run. It doesn't really make any sense to try to sell them, though. But stocking up on little parts like that allows me to pick up those free mowers and then resell them. Right here is gold. Absolute gold I just pulled off. That is an electric starter for a Briggs Stratton E-Start. I think it's a 6.25, something like that. And if you have that mower and your starter goes, which they do because people leave them outside and they get all packed with grass and then the water gets in there, and you want to buy a new one, it's $113 for a replacement. So the one I've got used on Marketplace is godsend. Here's an older push mower. It's a Poulan. It's a very small, older Briggs motor. Not a lot to it, but it's got a really good carburetor assembly. And this is one of those ones I have a problem with because it's an air filter box on a carburetor, which is on an intake tube. And a lot of times you'll see all three of those are missing. If you have to go and buy them, it's probably about $100. And if that's all I need to get that pusher running again, I mean, having one in stock makes all the difference. These bigger wheels, you can see these are almost brand new. Someone would love to have those. So we pull those off, absolutely. And then this is a Tecumseh 6-horse with the keyed electric start. It was a terrible idea. I don't know why they ever thought they needed it on a mower, but it's a whole harness that goes to a battery and another different proprietary one-off electric starter. And it's got this keyed harness and everything in there is hard to find, which means everything in there sells for a pretty penny. Now you can see the cable's a little bit kinked, but everything else is intact on that keyed start harness. So I'm confident that's going to sell for a little bit. I'm pulling off this tank. I am going to end up holding on to this tank again. Sometimes I feel like a hoarder, but it's a clean tank that doesn't have any holes, and it's got the cap. At the very least, if I get a mower without a cap, which again is a problem I have, people, I don't know, what do you guys do with your mower caps? Do you not keep it in your one hand while you're fueling and then just put it right back on? Why are they all missing? But keeping that, you know, may be the difference between being able to create a complete mower or not. You can see that starter right there. It's similar to a tractor starter. They may use it in some other tractor applications, but they sell for a pretty penny. I think Jack Small Engine wants like 85 for that thing. You know, I'll ask 60 bucks for a good used one. We're going to test it later in the video. You can see there are a lot of things I'm not pulling off these motors. The heads and the flywheels I used to hold on to, and they used to sell, and they don't anymore. It's a different world. We could go back and forth on what may be causing that, but they just don't. You know, so it's ultimately not worth it. Here I think we're going after mufflers. They do rot off these machines. You know, and if that's the only thing you need to get your mower running, maybe you want to give me $30 for it. And that makes sense. This is that whole carburetor assembly on the older ones. They've got an intake tube similar to the Tecumseh snowblowers, and then a carburetor, again, similar to the Tecumseh snowblowers. The only problem with these is those primer bulbs go harder than a carp on you, and you just have to buy a new one. So if you do this, if you're ever going to get into doing mowers, I did a video a little bit ago about stocking up on diaphragms for string trimmers. Stock up on those primer bulbs for the push mowers as well. I pulled the bales and handles off. Throw them aside. I've never really had any luck, you know, reselling those. That little plastic cap I just tossed, that's an example of what we throw away. That totally disgusting air filter is an example of what we throw away. In this case, I'm trying to save the air box, but it was all junked up on the back, and then I was trying to hopefully save the carburetor, but it was literally floor to ceiling white corrosion, which happens. They sit outside. It just is what it is. You can't save them all, and it's not worth it trying to bring one of those back. Blades, I think I might have mentioned, by the time they get to me, they're so screwed up and rusty and bent and dull and chipped. 9 times out of 10, I can't even use them. I do hold on to them. They make good metal for scrap metal projects or something, and occasionally I'll be able to find one in my pile that, you know, is the difference between making a mower and not making a mower. Again, here I was trying to see if I couldn't work these steel bolts out of their aluminum housings. Was not happening. Again, functionally, it was easier to break them off, but I just wanted to see, you know, would a little bit of heat work in this situation? I really haven't found a good answer for those bolts because it's so hard to heat up the aluminum around them because they're so far in there. That's the end of the solid mowers there. This is one of the decks I had sitting around. Really the only claim to fame here is a unique wheel setup. Instead of going on studs, they got bolts that go through, so I'll hold on to that. Looking back, I wish I'd taken the adjusters there because I'll bet those are unique. but I didn't. Alrighty, friends, there she is. I pulled everything off these motors that I thought would be good, and we left a lot there. I know some of you were probably saying, hey, flywheels, the heads, they're worth something. They're worth so little, and they're so hard to sell anymore. The days of flea markets, swap meets are behind us, so they're worth their weight in cast aluminum. I know I could get more if we broke these motors all the way down. I've done that in the past. You don't get enough more to justify tearing down 6 small engines. I did all this in about an hour. Let's see what our hourly rate was on this one. Alrighty, friends, that ain't a bad trailer, I'm telling you. I think I'm sneaking a few, rotors and stuff that I got over there, but let's go ahead and see how much we can get for this guy. This is 6 mowers. Well, it's actually 8 decks, 6 motors, a bunch of bales. She ain't even squatting, so not too much weight. Oh, buddy buck, I'll tell you what, we just emptied the trailer out for the mowers and the motors and the handles and all that. We got $79. Not great. It comes out to less than $10 a mower, but I picked these things up regardless, and about, maybe 20% of them are not savable. So those, a couple of decks and motors that we just scrapped, like I said at the beginning of the video, that was the exception to the rule. Most of them get fixed up and sold on, and the beauty of scrapping those few is now I have parts. I can put fresh wheels on it, make it look even better. If there's, cables missing, bales, whatever have you, we can swap out some mufflers, take the rusty one off, put a better looking one on. So that's the real benefit of doing what I just did, kind of distilling down that pile of basically junk mowers into little bit of cash. Screw it, it was worth it. It was a morning, and parts to keep her moving. So let's get back and test those electric starters, because those probably worth 40 bucks a piece, honestly, because they're very hard to find. Alrighty, friends, if a thing's worth doing, it's worth overdoing. Let's just plug right into one of the 24-volt maxes. And let's do this guy first. Got that easy trickle charger style adapter there. One on one. Whoa! One on the other. I'll buy that for $1. That one works. How about this guy? I only got one wire on this one. I guess it grounds to the case. Let's see. Whoa! Whoops. Holy Halliburton. Yep, 24 volts might be a bit much for that one, but she definitely works. Beautiful. Alrighty, friends, I fired up the old Googleizer. Brand new one of these guys. A comparable one, $86. You buy them used on eBay for $85. So yeah, Jack's small engine, which is extremely reputable. They got it for $85. So this is a Tecumseh starter. We just proved it works, and they go for about $85. About anywhere. eBay, Jack's small engine, no name supplier. Let's check out the other one. Ooh, buddy buck, I will tell you what, look at that. You can get the replacement off the old Slamazon for $113. That's why we do this, man. That's why we do this. I'm gonna sell somebody this unit for 60 bucks, and they're gonna thank me for that. It's a beautiful thing, I tell you what. Gosh dang, I love doing this stuff. Let's see, what about that drive? That self-propel unit, you think that's got any value? Let's Googleize it. Alrighty, friends, I was looking for the drive unit there, but look at this. We got a couple of these cables over there. They're going for $34 on the Slamazon. I could probably get 15, 20 bucks for them. I'm seeing axles and stuff. I'm not actually seeing our particular drive unit here. That's the axle. They go for about 30 bucks. So this is just, look at that, $126 to replace this chunker here, basically. So yeah, we'll put this up. Maybe I will disassemble this a little further. Looks like people don't want the whole assembly. They just want the gearbox, which I guess makes sense. Alrighty, friends, real quick. So we scrapped the decks and we scrapped the blown motors, but here's everything we pulled off that we deemed useful. We got a number of hard to find cables, the oil tubes everybody always needs because they are hanging off. They break so easily. We got some exhaust pieces. These are Briggs auto chokes. The starters we already talked about. I changed my mind. I kept a couple of the gas tanks if they had good tops, because I think what somebody might buy this for from us is if they lost the top for theirs. Additionally, save the wheels because people tear through these. We got 2 sets of front self-propelleds. These go because if your teeth get a little wobbly, look at that, you got some serious ant action on the wheel there. Long story short, they chew out those plastic gears, and then a bunch of good tires over here. And the real interesting thing, the real amazing part in my opinion, what was it, 6 full mowers and 2 decks, 1 bag of garbage, and this back assembly. That's all that's going straight to the landfill. The rest I'm gonna try my darndest to sell. We already took a whole bunch to the scrapyard to get melted down, turned into barbells or God knows what. So this seems like a pretty good point in the video to make my little quick rant. When I was young, we learned that to save the planet, you needed to reduce, reuse, and recycle. And somehow, in the 25 some odd years since I was in elementary school, we forgot about 2 of those, the reuse and the reduce, and we're just going whole hog on recycling even though it don't work. And it doesn't, don't make no mistake. The point I'm getting at is let's not forget the other 2. Let's reduce where we can and reuse. That's my whole shtick here. Most of the videos I make are in one way or another me trying to convince you to not send something to the landfill or to fix something that's broken or reuse something or pick up those junk mowers that someone's gonna try to fit in one of those cans and take the good bits off her. These things, $114 for this bad boy. I'm gonna sell it to somebody for 60 or 70, and they'll be tickled to give me that 60 or 70 because it's a working starter and it's half what the guy on the Slamazon wanted for it. So anyway, some might say we're doing God's work. Others may say I wasted an entire day on the driveway. Either way, thanks for watching. See you next time.